Hello everyone! So, since this is the month of October, I figured I'd do some October themed videos, aka some spectacular stuff coming up here. Halloween, paganism, witches, all the good stuff. So, I was looking for suggestions and somebody came up with like underrated horror. And I don't know about you, but a lot of underrated horror, at least in my opinion, is more of like the TV show, like TV movie kind of things, like independent, low budget, that kind of stuff. A lot of them can suck quite a bit sometimes because poor acting and everything else. But once in a while, there are good ones. And there are a lot of well-known directors and stuff that are involved in some of the TV movie ones. But still, they were, made for TV and are not as big as some other ones. So they may have been missed by people who may have not seen them when they aired or later on the internet, which is where I found a lot of these at. So, I haven't seen a lot of them, but for the couple that I have seen, I think I got like 3 on here, from the After Dark Horror Fest. I'm pretty sure I've seen more than what's on this list, but so far from what I've looked online, this is what I found and what I remember, but I know I've seen more. So, the first movie I have on here is called The Abandoned, and it's basically about a woman who was born in Russia, and if I remember right, she was adopted in the United Kingdom, and I think now she lives in the United States. She's divorced, and she ends up going back to Russia where she was given up, and all the creepy and weird shit just starts happening. It was a pretty good movie. The next one, and she, if I remember right, meets her brother, because I don't think they ever met, if I remember correctly. He was still in Russia and she was adopted out and everything. And yeah, like I said, creepy, weird stuff happens. And the next one is The Hamiltons. Now this one is a little less on the dark and gruesome side. It is about 4 siblings who seem like the perfect neighbors, who in reality are vampires. But who didn't see that coming? I know the vampire thing is really, really getting worn out and everything, but it is a good movie. Like I said, if you want something that's too scary, too gruesome, that's just kind of got a little element of horror to it, this one's a good one. The next one is Zombies of Mass Destruction. Now this one kind of falls on that, not directly horror comedy, but it still has its moments. It's less terrifying, a little bit more action kind of stuff going on. It's basically about how terrorists send a virus that turns people into zombies. And then you have people, of course, trying to survive this new zombie outbreak. One includes a Middle Eastern American family who, of course, is getting the real bad end of the deal because it is linked to terrorism. And then you have your high school kids and stuff like that. And it's kind of one of those fun horror movies. The next one, I would hope by now people, at least a good majority of people, would have seen. There are 3 movies to this. As far as I know, it's a trilogy. I haven't seen anything more, and that would be the Gingersnaps movies. Gingersnaps basically is about 2 teen sisters who are basically goth, or whatever you want to call them. Kind of the outcast sisters. And one day one of them gets attacked by a wolf. which of course turns out to be a werewolf, and the older sister, Ginger. You guessed it. The second movie follows her sister, Bridget, after the events of what happened to Ginger. And then Ginger snaps back. I think that's the third one. Yeah. I can't remember what the second one was called, but I think Snaps Back is the third one, which is an actual prequel, which tells of how they lived years ago. I want to say 1800s. I can't remember exactly, but, you know, a couple centuries ago. And that she then was also attacked by a wolf. So it kind of leads into this reincarnation thing and, you know, this curse thing or whatever. But they really are good movies for, you know, independent films. I enjoy them. The first one gets a little gruesome, especially the dog scene in the first one. Like, oh, that poor dog. You're like, ugh. I think we were eating at that time. The next one starts from a series called, well, the next few movies start from something called The Masters of Horror. And they also had another thing called Fear Itself, which was kind of like a related thing. These are definitely TV movies, if I remember. They're not very long. In fact, they're actually called episodes. But I think they're a little bit longer than 30 minutes, but still, they're really good. These really go on the creepy side, and yeah. So the first one is Jennifer. Jennifer is a story about this cop, if I remember right, yeah, he's a cop or something like that, who sees this girl almost getting killed by this guy. And so he saves her. The thing about the girl is she is deformed and she is slow. You know, she's mentally challenged. So they think. It turns out that she eats people. And that's why the guy was trying to kill her. And so this guy is now stuck with this girl. And she's basically killing everyone around him. And yeah, he's got to kind of deal with that bullcrap. It's just, it was really, really creepy. And the thing about it is, what is Jennifer? We don't know. She's just Jennifer. The next one is basically your ridiculous horror comedy kind of thing called Dear Woman. I don't remember too much about this one. It's kind of more of a fun watch and a scary watch. It's about a half deer, half woman kind of hybrid thing that goes around killing people. The next one is pretty disturbing. I think I watched it twice because I was sleeping, or, you know, falling asleep when I first watched it and I didn't quite get it. This one is Cigarette Burns, and it's about a man who is looking for a film. I think it's like 30 years old or something according to Wikipedia. And what happens is when this film first aired in the theaters, it made people go crazy and kill each other. It's kind of like the end of the world kind of film. And there's like this fucking wingless angel, like this angel with the wings cut off and stuff like that. It's kind of on that disturbing level. The next one, which is also fairly disturbing, and it has that creep factor all the way to it, would be The Fair-Haired Child. Now, this one is about a girl who is, if I remember right, she is kidnapped. She's kind of like an outcast, and she's thrown into this basement of this couple. The thing is that a while back, their son had died, and they used like this ritual spell, whatever you want to call it, to bring him back to life. But the thing is that they need to like kill people to kind of keep it going, so they like kidnap girls and like throw it down because their son kind of like becomes this monster. And like the picture itself is like really creepy. This one's really good. It definitely has that, you know, monster fact to it and everything. The next one really, really goes on. the line of disturbing, and I really don't watch this one at all if I don't have to. It's just so disturbing on so many levels. But I had to put it on here because this is a horror list. And that is Imprint. And this is about a man, this like takes place like years ago, whatever, who goes back to Japan to try and find this like prostitute he fell in love with. And instead he finds another girl who knew her in like this, you know, brothel house kind of freaking thing. And she begins telling her story and everything, and then there's like a secret she has that you find out later that's really, really creepy and really disturbing. But there is like, if I remember right, there's a scene with an aborted baby, so if you have problems with that, which even I did, that was kind of really on that touchy level there. That's kind of disturbing. There is a scene with needles going into people's, or this one girl's fingernails and stuff as a form of torture. Yeah, it's good if you want something disturbing, but let me tell you, it is kind of on that big guy disturbing level. The next one is Family, which, again, I like movies that have a slight twist, even if it's just a little one. This is basically about a family who moves into a neighborhood, and their neighbor, this one guy, is a little off. In fact, he is basically a psychopath, a killer. He basically kills people and uses their skeletons to make a fake family for himself. Yeah, I really like the ending to this one. It was really good. The next one is the Screwfy solution, which is about like this epidemic, this virus that's going around that's making men kill women. And it's basically about a woman and her daughter's survival, you know, just trying to survive through all this. And again, you find out why this is happening and stuff like that. But it's kind of more of a survival film / horror kind of thing. The next one, which I've mentioned before, is a movie called Dead End. And this one's not from any of those. It's just, I think, an independent film on its own. Basically, a family, Christmas I think it was, going to see family. And they're almost right off the road and weird shit starts to happen. They are basically chased by this dead woman and their family starts dying off. It's good. It takes place mainly at night, so, you know, the movie's kind of dark, but yeah, I think it was pretty well acted and well written for an independent film. The acting was decent. Actually, it was pretty good. Yeah. And the last one I have on this list is Trick or Treat, which is basically an anthology of different horror type things all kind of coming together, like they're all related and such. There is a girl who turns out to be something that's more than a girl, a bus driver who attempts to kill kids with problems at the wish of their parents, and a few other things which I can't exactly recall right now. I'll have to watch that again because I really did enjoy that. I love short stories and anthologies and stuff like that, like little stories. I think they're like really neat and they're often done really well. So that is my list. All these are really good. Some of them I just don't watch very often because some of them are really, really on that creepy, disturbing level and they kind of just sit with you for a while. But if you like that stuff, or if you like horror comedy or just a little bit of action, you know, it's all kind of there. And I'm sure there's a whole lot more that I've missed that I just can't think of right now. But so far I pretty much have listed about 13 of these, so yeah, go watch them, tell me what you thought, and thank you for watching. Bye.